Welcome back. I'm Dan.
I'm James.
This is the Cornwall Property Podcast, episode 81, and this is one of our new top tips episodes where we want to give you some extra value, some extra help on topics that generally we're being asked on the regular that haven't necessarily been picked out on Q&A questions, but they're top tips on things that we are regularly asked. So, James, top tips we're going to be talking through today are how do I pick the right letting agent? I think you'll be best placed for this one.
Do you think so? Make them your friends. Absolutely. And I would have, the first tip would be have regular contact with them. I make a conscious effort to go and see agents at least once a month. And it does take, a good half a day to get around all of the agents in our operating patch. So yeah, make the time to go and do that. And don't tell, is my second tip, don't tell them what you're going to do or are dreaming of doing or your aspirations are. The best thing to do with agents is show them. They want that tangibility of seeing evidence that you mean what you say and you're out there and you are actively buying. Why do they like to see actively buying? Because they know that you actually do have money. So yeah, show them what you're doing. That's a really, really important one. And when you're working with agents, it's, picking one is very, very difficult. It's not easy. So the only thing I can say from my experience where I normally start is speak to friends who you might know or people in the property industry that have used those agents and get their, really honest opinion. Because although reviews can look good online, then they can be a little bit staged and they've been done deliberately by other people. I'm not going to say who, but just go and speak to other people in the industry that have used them and tell them about their pros and cons. But definitely. To find the perfect agent, I don't think you're always going to get it.
No, there's always going to be pros and cons to all of them. Obviously, we've had some fantastic letting agents and both letting agents that we've had on the podcast. So that was Lang Llewellyn & Co. and Martin & Co. We use both of them. They manage properties of ours. So we can definitely vouch for those guys. But again, there's always going to be things that, one does really, really good or one, I wish they did this one a little bit better. But I think the key is, like you said, is just getting out there, communicate, chat to them. Proofs in the pudding, as you say as well. And this with selling agents as well as letting agents is just be yourself, be open, be honest. Excuse my French, but don't bullshit because they can smell that. The amount of people that come into the branch, no doubt, every day saying, I'm going to be a property developer, I've got this place. Just, I think proof's in the pudding, and I think I would vouch for that too. So yeah, simply continue, be consistent with your networking, visits. Don't promise the world and deliver nothing. I think I'd be the complete opposite personally. So you want to over-deliver. Under-promise, over-deliver. That's kind of the way we kind of work, isn't it, James? And again, just do your homework. And I think one thing that we've been caught out with in the past is we get caught out by the tagline. So in terms of, right, guys, I'll manage a property for 8%, 10%. Brilliant. Oh, that's blooming good. Okay, that's a lot cheaper than the others. But what you don't pay attention to or ask the questions of is, well, what about all the other fees or the administrative fees? When a tenant leaves, how much is it going to cost me to then re-advertise? Because you then, all right, you may be getting 8% or 10% a month, but every time the tenant changes over, it's going to cost you another 150 quid a month, a turnover. And that's for all the administrative side of things, all this side of, all of the extras, essentially, all the hidden extras. So make sure you find out what every single cost will be, because you then want to weigh it up. So, well, look, on average, if I'm looking at maybe a single buy-to-let, what's my turnover going to be on tenants? Well, realistically, if I plan in for one a year, maybe you sign up for 12-month contracts. Maybe you work out, okay, well, the cost of additional services is going to be this. Well, is it worth paying the slightly more or higher interest rate, or in terms of like the management rate? So instead of paying 8%, is it worth paying 10%? Because that 10% actually means that there's no administrative fees on top. So it's just getting the full picture. Don't be dragged in by just the percentage rate at the front end.
Absolutely. I think another good question for agents is just understand their processes of how they manage properties. There's nothing more bug-bearing for me is that I've used a managing agent in the past, and I know we've got a problem with a lock on one of the HMO doors, for example, and then I phone up to try and get an update, and I find it's a team up in Exeter that's dealing with it. But how is that relevant to a property that is in Truro, where they're on the ground and they're actually there and they know? And I don't like that. I like it all in-house on the ground.
No, good point. So, yeah, we got called out with that, isn't it, as well? So yeah, we've got an agent we really like the idea of, but they sold us a dream in terms of, this is it. We're sort of really good managing agents. We're fantastic. And then every time there's a maintenance issue or anything comes up, we're talking to someone in Stockport. It's like, you don't even know where our property is. How can you tell us how to sort this out? It's just, and we're trying to get some tangible updates. It's very, 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 very good point there. But guys, ask them, get the full picture, full costs, compare, chat to people who use them already. And I think that's the best thing you can do.
Absolutely. And if you know anybody that is renting and they are the managing agent, ask how the tenants are getting on. Do they feel they've been treated well with issues that have cropped up? So, they're at the end of the line, really. So,
definitely. Very good point. Well, guys, hopefully that helps. If you've got any dying questions that you think could be useful on the tips episodes, please do get in touch again via any of the social media channels, Instagram, Facebook. We are the Cornwall Property Podcast. You are very welcome to get in touch with us that way or get us an email.
Exactly. You can do that on podcast@cl-property.com and just get your questions in. We're here to help.
Fantastic. Well, guys, hope you've got some value from there, and we'll look forward to having you join us on the next episode. It's a goodbye from me.
Bye from me.